really surprised at the statistics of how many people on my YouTube channel ask me for help with social anxiety. 40% on one of the polls that I've done and 50% on another poll that I've done. So today we're going to get into it, and I'm actually going to give you the truth. I'm going to give you things that are really going to help you to lessen your social anxiety and improve your social confidence so you can live the life that you want and you can be yourself around people and express yourself and be happy and much more. So before we get into it, let's talk briefly about the symptoms. Now obviously you know what the symptoms are because you suffer them and you live with them and you want to try and improve your symptoms, but let's just go over them just so we can help to understand this video more, educate you and actually give you the tools, the mindsets and the practical steps for you to take action. Because as you know, if you just watch YouTube videos and you don't take action, your life isn't going to improve. You're not going to gain a single ounce of confidence. So the symptoms of social anxiety disorder, or also known as social phobia. So common symptoms are having problems holding eye contact with people, and the reason is you're afraid that people are going to judge you and they're going to evaluate you in a very negative way. Another common fear that people have who suffer with extreme social anxiety is a fear of displaying your social anxiety symptoms in front of people. So, for example, panicking in the face, looking away when someone's talking to you. There's also the fear of stuttering, so not being able to get your words out correctly. That's another fear. Then there's also the symptom, which is probably one of the most worst symptoms, which is panic, fight or flight. So you might be in a social situation or someone's talking to you, or you're in a group of people, you're at a meeting at work, or you're on a train, or in any social situation, or you're in a coffee shop queuing up, or you're ordering your coffee with a person serving you, the barista or a cashier in a supermarket or any shop, and you start feeling panic come along, your heart starts racing, you start feeling sweaty. Some people go red, they get embarrassed. So there's many symptoms under the umbrella of social anxiety, like social embarrassment, getting shy, not being able to look people in the eye. One of the biggest ones as well, like I said just a second ago, with not wanting to display your symptoms and for people to see that you're anxious and you're not comfortable in yourself or social situations. Another big problem that people have is not being able to express their emotions in a particular social situation. So you're feeling a certain emotion and you want to be able to express that and say that to a person, but you kind of get mentally and emotionally blocked, so you can't get your words out. That can be really frustrating for a lot of people, and I imagine a lot of you go through that. So these are kind of like the main symptoms. Then there's more severe areas, and that's probably where that can fall into, more things like psychosis and paranoia. There's more, there's different extremes of social anxiety, and I'm going to get into that in this video. So now that we understand the symptoms, let me just make a point of saying, a lot of the symptoms as well that people have with social anxiety are not just symptoms that actually get triggered when they're in social situations in real life and real time with people. It's actually the tormenting negative thinking that goes on, worrying about particular scenarios and outcomes that have never actually happened yet. So someone might be at home worrying about a party that they've agreed to go to. They're worried that if they go to the party, no one's going to like them, they're going to be boring, they're going to be judged. Or like I said earlier, they're going to display their symptoms of social anxiety and people are going to judge them and they're going to get embarrassed and it's going to be a terrible thing. And there's an element of a fear of rejection in all this. Of course, there's going to be a fear of rejection if you're really concerned about people judging you or people thinking you're strange and weird. And it's all kind of connected. So the negative thinking and the depression and the loneliness can follow with these things if you don't do what I'm going to tell you to do in this video to stay on this video. So these are the symptoms. If I've missed any, I've definitely covered them in other videos and I'll cover them and more. If I have missed any, let me know in the box below, because sometimes I'm not going to think of everything. So now I want to get into the solution. And there's two things that you'll hear me talk about. Number one is exposure therapy. which is a psychological term, and exposure therapy is pretty straightforward what it says on the tin. It means whatever you're frightened of, you have to expose yourself to. So exposing yourself is facing it. So if you've got a fear of spiders, exposure therapy would be you exposing yourself to a spider, gradually over time, maybe getting to a point where you can actually pick it up. But it might start off gradual steps of looking at pictures online, or then just looking at a spider in a cage, or watching a video online. And that's exactly the same. I'm not saying that people are spiders or spiders are people, but that's the same procedure that I've taught thousands of my clients over the years on my 6-week program and transformation programs. And I run hundreds of weekend confidence programs in London where I'll take a group of 4 guys out and actually get them to speak to women in real life social situations and give them feedback and watch their social interactions. So I've watched thousands of social interactions unfold in real life through being a coach and a teacher for almost 10 years. And obviously I suffered with social anxiety too, so I had to face my social anxiety. So I've got such a clear understanding on this, and I want to give you every single bit of information you can go away and build a lot of confidence and start reducing your social anxiety and getting control over it so you can live the life that you want. So number one, the solution is exposure therapy, which is the best solution out of all of them, where you spend a significant amount of time. I always recommend you spend at least 6 weeks, but I would say for long-term goals, if you want to make massive changes with your social anxiety and you want to take it from here, which is extremely high, where your symptoms are, they're so high, eye contact's a problem, talking to people, being in groups, not stuttering conversations, being able to feel comfortable around people. If you want to get it down to here, then I would say you have to practice from between 6 weeks up to 6 months, possibly longer. It depends on how you respond to this type of training, because different people respond differently to different types of training, and some people need a bit more time than some people get things a little bit quicker. That's what I find with coaching over the years. There were some students that made a lot of progress a little bit quicker, and there were some that needed longer practice. And I was like that when I started. Actually, I didn't start improving around people and getting less anxious straight away. I had to do a lot of work. So don't be put off by that. Don't feel like, oh, that's me, I don't get things straight away, because usually these are the people that make the most progress because they've got to work harder and put a bit more time in. But you might be lucky. You might be a person, as I said, like a lot of my clients, who you get good at this quite quick. You start improving. So exposure therapy is number one. Number two, I want to talk to you about becoming desensitized, or desensitization. So I'm struggling to pronounce that word. I'm stuttering over that word. What desensitization means is, it doesn't actually mean that you completely overcome your social anxiety or any anxiety related disorder or any fear. What it does mean is, though, you become accustomed to the feeling and the fears, and you actually grow a thicker skin. It's almost like, if I could explain this, a bit strange, it's almost like you build a second person. It's almost like you have you, who is afraid of people in social situations, and when you go into these social situations, or whatever social situation, at work, public speaking, on the first date, on public transport, traveling, or being around your family. Some people find it very difficult managing their social anxiety around family or close friends, or just being out in public around or meeting new people at new events and so forth. So desensitization is where you practice these situations, you face these emotions, you face these social fears, and what starts to happen is the symptoms start to reduce. And the reason why the symptoms reduce is because you have done a lot of exposure therapy, and as a result and a consequence, you've become more desensitized. So you've become more confident, you've become more competent in these situations. Your body, human mind's amazing. Your body, your cognitive part of you, your biology, your emotions, all these things, biology, psychology, all these different things, right? Don't get too caught up in names, actually become accustomed. They adapt to the extra stress that you used to feel. So what I'm saying is, the first time you go to a social event, it's going to feel very, very tough for you. If you're a person who is extremely uncomfortable around people and you get nervous and you don't know how to start conversations, you don't know how to look people in the eye and relax more, the first time is going to be tough. But if you do it 5 times, on the 4th or the 5th time or even the 3rd time, it's going to be a lot easier. And that means that your confidence has increased. And that's really important in all this for you guys. You need to have accountability when you're setting out to improve your social anxiety and live a better life and be more confident people. You need some measure to see if you're progressing or not. Because obviously, if you're not progressing, then that means the methodology you're using is not working for you, or there's things that you're not doing right, or you're not pushing yourself enough. So you can write down how, like, journal. Oh, this week I felt really good around people. This week I didn't feel as good. You can see your progress. This is something that I always do with my clients and I've always done. There's always been accountability. And accountability is important because, number one, it shows you where you're going right and it keeps you motivated. And number 2, it shows you where you're going wrong or where you need to make improvements. So you can actually have a statistics, or you can basically track and measure your progress, which is really important. So exposure therapy is the method, and becoming desensitized should be the goal. And I will say this as well, right? There's a bit of a contradiction in social anxiety, like most things in life. Now, there's a lot of gurus online who claim that they can, rid, all of your social anxiety in one go, or one therapy session, or several. And I'm sorry to say, it's just not true. They're not being honest. I think some of them will do anything to be liked on YouTube. They'll do anything to sell an ebook or make money. And that's just not the kind of person I am. I will do anything to put the actual genuine truth out, because I want people to get the results that I've got in my life and many of my clients. So one thing that I find a lot of them don't talk about is actually how mentally and emotionally tough this is going to be for you. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'll tell you why. This is one of the best tips I can give you, right? And if you get a lot of value from this, hit the like button, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, and let me know in the box below how you're feeling about this, if this video has helped you, and let me know if I've missed out on any symptoms, because then we can make another video, right? Attack it from another angle. So the reason why it's important you know before starting this journey that it's difficult, because you can now prepare yourself for some difficult challenges ahead. And like I always say to my clients, challenges are great if you change your mindset. If you're not prepared for this to be tough, then when you go into these social situations, you're going to be shocked at your own biological fight or flight response, your own cognition, your own thinking. So it's good that I always prepare people for the worst, so that it won't be that bad then. There's a lot of psychology on this. When you prepare a person to go into a frightening and fearful social situation, because they're prepared and they're expecting it to be difficult and uncomfortable, they can always handle it better, and usually it's not as intimidating or scary as they thought it would be, because they're prepared. But if you don't prepare a socially anxious person and you give them advice that's naive, and it's too optimistic, and it lacks any real truth, they are seriously going to be in trouble when they get in these situations. They're not going to handle it, they're going to panic, and they're going to feel terrible, and they might be feel defeated, and they might give up. So it isn't easy, but nothing with any value, happiness or success, is ever easy. So if you accept that, then it will actually be a lot easier and you can enjoy it. So it is a tough ask, but if you don't do it, you're not going to change. You're going to stay depressed, lonely, isolated, and your symptoms are not going to improve. So this is what you have to do. Another tip I'm going to give you is you need to create an action plan. This is an action plan. An action plan is a pad of paper with a plan of action. So I would recommend you do this highly. You need to write down, okay, how am I going to tackle my social anxiety? Where are the areas in my life where I'm most socially anxious? You can let me know in the box below, because everyone's different. Everyone has got some social anxiety in certain areas. Some people are more comfortable going to events with groups of people. Some people are not comfortable in groups. Some people are better one-on-one. Some people don't like being one-on-one with people. It's too intimate. They prefer being in a group, so they feel they can hide more or blend in, or the attention's not fully on them. Some people like doing public speaking. Some people are not comfortable. Some people like doing video vlogging. Some people are not. So write down the areas where you're not comfortable and set the goals with the areas that you want to become more comfortable, and then go about doing that. Follow the action plan. So I would really recommend you practicing. I've always got clients that do this, and I run a Fearless event in London, which is a free event every month for people with social anxiety. And the progress that the guys make is just unbelievable. If you could see how much more confident they get because of the exposure therapy, and they start becoming more desensitized and their confidence goes up. So that's what you want to do with all social anxiety. You want your confidence to surpass your actual existing anxiety. So you can't fully get rid of anxiety or fear of social anxiety, but you can reduce it, and you can get rid of social anxiety in certain areas if you predominantly focus on practicing these areas. For example, first dates. If you're a single guy who wants to get more confident with women and you want to find a long-term relationship, but you want to get more, relaxed on first dates, then going on 5 or 10 first dates could actually take away your anxiety. But there's always going to be other areas, and I would actually say you wouldn't be human if you didn't have a healthy amount of social anxiety. We all have it, because the fear comes from we don't trust people till we get to know them. We don't know what is the appropriate thing to say, whether they're going to be offended. We don't know if we're going to get along with them. So there's a good reason to have some social fear with especially with new people, right? That you don't know, you've never met, for obvious reasons. So with that said and that understood, what are you going to do about it? If you don't take action, nothing's going to change. So I've given you the mindset. The mindset is, I'm prepared to go into situations that are difficult, but I'm excited about the growth I'm going to get. This is a challenge that I'm really looking forward to taking on. And that type of warrior mindset, that tough attitude, will actually give you massive confidence and reduce your social anxiety. And like I said, in certain areas, it will go away. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's all of the teaching. And like I said, I've got a lot of clips online with my famous 6-week transformation program, where I predominantly, several years ago, when I was coaching just on a crazy level, I spent years and hours taking guys out in real life and getting them over their fears of talking to women as part of social anxiety training. And also I spent many years getting guys together, getting them comfortable with men, with each other, so they can build friendships. So one of the things I want to say to inspire you, I'm a current sufferer of social anxiety, and if I can achieve all these things in my life, and many of my clients have achieved great things, like they've got a job for the first time, they've got a girlfriend, some of them have married their fiance, they've started families, they've started businesses. So don't allow social anxiety to stop you living the life that you want. It's better to move forward whilst being anxious and nervous around people or life, and to grow and succeed and reach your dreams, than it is to avoid these situations because you don't feel comfortable. Most of social anxiety in a nutshell is learning to be comfortable whilst feeling uncomfortable in social situations. And remember, it is quite fair. You're not going to be uncomfortable all the time around people. That's just not humanly possible. But you've also got to understand that you're not always going to be comfortable around people, even when you're very confident. But you'll learn this over time. So that's the truth on social anxiety. This is how you combat it, get control of it, and beat it so you can live the life that you want, alright? So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. I'll make more videos on social anxiety control, confidence, and remember, become fearless.